What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Tuesday, March 8th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, we have a 6-game slate tonight, so let's take a look at the point guard position. I like Terry Rozier from the Charlotte Hornets playing the Brooklyn Nets, who have the 10th worst defense overall. They give up the 10th most fantasy points to opposing point guards. Terry Rozier has averaged 35.6 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 23% usage rate. He's projected at 36.7 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he can score 40 fantasy points or more, get you 5 times value or more. He's $8,200 DraftKings salary, 100 more on FanDuel. I like this pick for a couple of reasons. First, Vegas thinks there's going to be 241 points scored in this game, so a super high scoring game, ton of fantasy points to go around. It's a good game to stack. And Terry Rozier has scored 51, 57, and 37 fantasy points in his last 3 games, playing 35, 33, and 36 minutes. He also scored 52 fantasy points in his last game versus the Nets. And actually, Terry Rozier has scored 47 fantasy points or more 4 out of his past 5 games. So he's been on fire. Now he's got a good matchup here tonight, so let's see if he can keep it rolling. So I like Terry Rozier here versus the Brooklyn Nets. Another point guard that I like on DraftKings, he's priced up on FanDuel, so I prefer this DraftKings price. He's been super hot. Drew Holiday from the Milwaukee Bucks playing the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have the 2nd worst defense overall, give up the 6th most fantasy points to opposing point guards. Drew Holiday has averaged 38.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game with a 24% usage rate. And Drew Holiday is projected at 39.8 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.2 times value. Now, he's only $7,600 DraftKings salary, although he is $1,400 more on FanDuel. So I love that DraftKings price. Vegas thinks there's going to be 231.5 points scored in this game. This is another good game to stack. Lots of good action in this game. And Drew Holiday has scored 50, 47, and 54 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 38, 37, and 38 minutes. So I like Drew Holiday here versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won, and we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. So I also like Chris Middleton from this Milwaukee OKC game. He's $7,400 DraftKings salary, 100 more on FanDuel, projected at 38.8 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.2 times value. He scored 65, 38, and 38 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 35, 38, and 36 minutes. So I like Chris Middleton from the Milwaukee Bucks playing the Oklahoma City Thunder. And if you want to save some salary at this position, Take a look at Desmond Bane from the Memphis Grizzlies playing the New Orleans Pelicans, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing shooting guards, also eligible at the small forward position. Desmond Bane has averaged 30.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 30 minutes per game with a 23% usage rate. He's projected at 31.1 fantasy points here tonight. I think he can score 33 fantasy points or more, get you 5 times value or more. He's 6,500 DraftKings salary, 300 less on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 231.5 points scored in this game, and Desmond Bane has scored 43, 36, and 32 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 36, 24, and 33 minutes. So I like Desmond Bane here versus the New Orleans Pelicans. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. I like Brandon Ingram from the New Orleans Pelicans playing the Memphis Grizzlies, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They give up the 10th most fantasy points to opposing small forwards. Brandon Ingram has averaged 40 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 30% usage rate. He's projected at 39.5 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.6 times value, but I think he can score 44 fantasy points or more, get you 5 times value or more. He's 8,500 DraftKings salary, 200 more on FanDuel. We know Vegas thinks there's going to be 231.5 points scored in this game. And Brandon Ingram has been on fire, scoring 59, 48, and 48 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 40, 30, and 31 minutes. So I like Brandon Ingram here versus the Memphis Grizzlies.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. I got a couple of value plays here for you at the power forward position. The first value play here is Jay Crowder from the Phoenix Suns playing the Orlando Magic, who have the 5th worst defense overall, give up the 2nd most fantasy points to opposing power forwards. Jay Crowder has averaged 22.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 28 minutes per game with a 14% usage rate. Now he's projected at 24 fantasy points here tonight, only needs about 26 fantasy points to hit 5 times value. He's 5,100 DraftKings salary, 1,000 more on FanDuel, so I prefer that DraftKings price. Vegas thinks there's going to be 224.5 points scored in this game. And Jay Crowder's been on fire, scoring 37, 27, and 38 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 34, 30, and 24 minutes. So I like Jay Crowder here versus the Orlando Magic. Okay, now here is a really good value play. Just gotta keep your eye on this game and just check the news about this player. He played 27 minutes last game. He was out for a bunch of games before that, and FanDuel raised his price, but DraftKings has not raised his salary. So I think this could be a really good value play here tonight if he's going to play anywhere near the minutes that he played last game. Take a look at Moritz Wagner from the Orlando Magic playing the Phoenix Suns, who have a good defense overall, give up the 12th most fantasy points to opposing power forwards. Moritz Wagner scored 38 fantasy points last game. He played 27 minutes. Now, he hadn't played before that game, last game, and it's not a back-to-back, so it's been a couple of days, and he's projected at 22.4 fantasy points here tonight. That's 6.8 times value. He's only 3,300 DraftKings salary. He is 1,200 more on FanDuel, so this would be a DraftKings play for me. Moritz Wagner is averaging 1.14 fantasy points per minute, so even if he only plays 20 minutes and gets you over 20 fantasy points, he's going to crush value at 3,300 DraftKings salary. Now, his season average is only 14 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 13 minutes per game. I actually just want to take a look at his scoring log. It looks like he's been out for a couple weeks now. He hasn't played, well, he played on the 5th, played 27 minutes, scored 38.3 fantasy points. But before that, he hadn't played since February 6th. And you can see when he was playing earlier in the season, he really wasn't playing a lot of minutes. Like, he does have a random game in here where he played 27 minutes, scored 38 fantasy points, played 19, 14 minutes. But then he's got some games where he played like 9 and 5 minutes. So his minutes are all over the place. So there's some risk here because you just hope that he gets 20 plus minutes. If he only goes out there for 9 minutes, well, probably going to kill your lineup. But if he can get 20 plus minutes in this game, I think he is going to be a super good value play on DraftKings. So I like Moritz Wagner as a high risk, high reward value play here versus the Phoenix Suns. Okay, moving on to the center position. I just got to mention this guy because he's in a great spot here tonight. He's priced up quite a bit, but for good reason. Giannis Antetokounmpo from the Milwaukee Bucks playing the Oklahoma City Thunder. You could almost go with a Milwaukee Bucks stud stack and then fill the rest of your lineup with mid-range and value plays. That would be an interesting lineup because they're all in great spots here tonight versus the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have the second worst defense overall, give up the absolute most fantasy points to opposing centers. Giannis Antetokounmpo is averaging 57.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game with a 35% usage rate. He's projected at 58.9 fantasy points here tonight. That's just about 5 times value. He's 12,000 DraftKings salary, 100 less on FanDuel. And Giannis has scored 52, 67, and 63 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 31, 38, and 34 minutes. And he has absolutely crushed the Oklahoma City Thunder. He has scored 66, 73, 73, 58, and 63 fantasy points in his last 5 games versus the Thunder. And Giannis has put up 60 plus fantasy points in 3 out of his last 5 games, with the other 2 scores being a 58 and a 52 as his lowest score in the last 5 games. So I hope I'm not jinxing Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak, because oftentimes when I pick this guy in my videos and I put him in my lineup, he goes out there and gets, 35, 40 fantasy points. So I hope that doesn't happen here tonight. But I do like Giannis Antetokounmpo here versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. Another center that I like is DeAndre Ayton from the Phoenix Suns playing the Orlando Magic, who have the 5th worst defense overall. They give up the 4th most fantasy points to opposing centers. DeAndre Ayton has averaged 34 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 29 minutes per game with a 21% usage rate. He's projected at 35.3 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.3 times value. He's 6,600 DraftKings salary, 700 more on FanDuel. And DeAndre Ayton has scored 45, 15, and 31 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 32, 34, and 25 minutes. So I like DeAndre Ayton here versus the Orlando Magic.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck.